if anyone interested in some upcoming events in this series. We've got the next 3 booked out for June, July on those dates. If you're interested in any of the previous events, all of the events that we've run since the beginning of the year are on our YouTube channel. So please do check out the playlist that's currently up there. If you'd like to get in contact with us, again, the video for this session is going to be up fairly soon, usually within 2 weeks of this session. So you'll be able to see all these slides again, hopefully, on the video, but please do keep in touch. And I'm going to hand over to you now, because I need to make sure that we've got everyone from the waiting room.
So thank you everybody for taking the time out to join today. This is the Real IT Bites BCS Early Career Professional Series. This is the 5th out of 8 talks that I'll be doing, all centered around what success stories we can share, what storytelling we can do, anything that we can do to encourage people to take their first stepping stone into the vast array of career opportunities that are available. This one's called Cocktail Hour, so this is more of a really informal panel discussion, and we'd love it to be as interactive as possible. So completely up to yourselves, but if you are able to put your cameras on so we can sort of see you and interact in that way. Also, one of the features we've got is the reactions button. So during our conversation, if you do feel you want to have a comment or share your story, share a query, please use a reaction button as well. And also the chat option is available to you too, but let's keep it as interactive as possible. And yeah, grab a drink, whether it's alcoholic or not, doesn't matter. I think some of us have got cups of tea. I haven't. But do feel free to just use it as an opportunity just to kind of get to know us. And all the speakers that I've got, the wonderful speakers I've got today, are all contactable on LinkedIn as well for you, whether you're joining today or whether you watch this back as well. So I'm just going to do a couple of slides for you. So that's just a little bit about me. So my name is Jag Sohal and I'm an IT Business Relationship Manager at NFU Mutual. And I've been in the IT industry for must be 14 years, and 7 to 8 years of that has been in business partnering. And I came up with a series of these talks last year, and I'm really thankful again for the BCS for taking my idea and partnering with the BCS Birmingham branch to run these talks and to promote these talks as well. It's been a really great channel to reach the audience that I'd like to get these talks out to. So it's aimed at young professional seeking a career within IT, but also anyone really that feels like they could, if they've got a passion and a real kind of keen interest in technology, to get those kind of first initial advice and steps and really push really to get you into seeking your sort of first step into the career of IT and digital. So my purpose really is if I can galvanize many people to join this industry. And like I said, every member of this series and my talks are sharing real stories, and everyone has committed to be contactable for any further questions or coaching or anything like that you would like. So given it's cocktail hour and given it's past the exam seasons that I'm being told, so you can make your way down to the bottleclub.com, and I've managed to get a little discount code as well. So it's OMHH10, that's open mic happy hour 10, and if you spend £30, you're effectively getting a discount which provides you pretty much free delivery. They've got some really exciting offers as well there, and there's alcoholic and non-alcoholic drink ranges for you as well. So that's all I have in terms of slides, and I'm just going to be speaking with Emily and Colin today. So Emily, do you want to do a quick introduction?
Yeah, so hi everyone, I'm Emily. I work for Big Red Recruitment. I've been working at Big Red now for, I think coming up to 6 years, so it's quite a long time, and we specialise in digital and tech recruitment purely in the Midlands area. So we're quite niche in what we do, and we only work exclusively as well with all of our customers. So we're not in competition with other agencies. We're not a CV flinging service. You know, we do get to know our candidates in a lot more detail. So yeah, please do link in with me. I've been placing a lot of graduates this year as well, so that's why I was quite excited to join this call today.
Thank you so much. And Colin, do you want a quick introduction?
Thanks, Jag. Yeah, hi everyone. So I'm Colin, and I am an IT business relationship consultant at NFU Mutual, part of the IT business relationship management team. I joined NFU Mutual 2 years ago now on their IT graduate scheme, having previously done a degree in history. So not the most conventional route into the IT industry. Yeah, having joined and been here for 2 years now, really enjoying the challenges that IT brings, but also the exposure you get and the experience I've managed to get while at the company as well.
Fantastic, thank you so much. And I know that I've sort of going back to Big Red, kind of worked with Big Red before as well, and you know what you do is really quite a mature way of trying to build links and partnerships. So you build links with those organisations, but also for an individual, so you know, a potential candidate, you really do work on a one-to-one basis and try and understand what their likes and dislikes are. So there might be a vacancy, there might not be a vacancy on the board, but because you've got that partnership with those organisations and you know the direction that those local organisations will be going, yeah, it's quite a really good position to be in because you sort of do your homework.
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually we placed quite a lot of candidates who haven't seen an advert just because we know them, we've got them on our books, and then a customer may come to us and say, Emily, I'm looking for a graduate Python developer in the next couple of months. Sometimes we won't even have to advertise because I already know candidates that would be interested and are about to graduate. So yeah, it's really important, I think, for graduates before they're graduating to start getting in contact with agencies, because it's super important, because people get snapped up at the minute and they're not even seeing an advert. It's just because we know them on a one-to-one basis.
Yeah, and that's sometimes that advice isn't necessarily given, is it? The fact that, you know, it's not just Big Red, but other agencies are quite happy to take a call, you know, and I don't think sometimes people always realise that.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't wait to see an advert to call us. Give us a call if you've got any, you know, questions on your CV or anything like that. You know, that's what we're here to do. We are consultants, so we want to help you as best as possible.
And when they are sort of ringing up, what sort of, you know, questions are happening, and what sort of things do you like to understand from that person?
Yeah, so typically when a graduate will call up, I think the first thing will be, you know, do you have any jobs available? But rather than just telling them what we've got on our books, I'll go straight into getting to know that particular candidate. So, you know, what have they been studying for? But not just degree wise, it's also really important to understand their passions and interests. So any kind of projects that you've been doing, you know, outside of your studies, even if it's something really small, you know, I do want to know that, because there might be jobs that you've not thought of that you might be suitable for, but I do know because I'm in this industry. So just kind of opening up your eyes to other avenues rather than focusing on just going down one route. That's something that we're able to help candidates understand what's out there in the market. So
yeah, that's something I'm trying to push through these talks as well. It's, I think, as a graduate and someone who perhaps hasn't had that kind of, you know, more holistic career advice, it's very tunnel vision, and so I wouldn't know, and I guarantee I would not have known to ring you, Emily, and just say I'd like a job in PMO. I would not have known to say I'd like a job in business analysis, for example. So having hopefully people who watch the series will get a feel for roughly where their interests might lie. And as you say, there could be something quite niche around cyber, for example, and you will know because organizations will share with you if they're looking to expand or grow a team in cyber as well. So hopefully the combination of these talks and then understanding their wider interests, they can have a much more informed conversation with the recruiter.
Yeah, 100%. And we know kind of 12 months in advance what our customers' pipeline is, what they're doing project wise. We'll know what's about to land. So it may not be imminent, it may not have something now, but it could be 2 months' time. I know that my customer is going to need somebody with your skills. So again, I always say to candidates, don't be sitting ducks and just wait until you see that perfect job come up. Call me. Or call anyone, call any consultants. That's what we want. We want to be proactive, not reactive. So
no, that's really useful to know. And CVs as well. So do you, as part of that service and advice, go through an individual's CV?
Yeah, so we do offer CV writing services as well, and I think it's super important because you'll get advice maybe from your lecturers or from the university, but those CVs all look the same. So I really try and encourage people to stand out from the crowd. So I do offer that service, and you want your CV to jump out because there are so many graduates looking at the minute. As a recruiter, I'm reading probably the top 2, 3, 4 lines of somebody's CV because I need to go on to the next one. So it's got to be punchy, it's got to be eye-catching. You want your skills at the top. So there's all these little tweaks. I always say to candidates as well, probably my top tip would be don't lie on your CV because it just catches you out. No matter how much you want to kind of big yourself up, you touched on Python in one module at university, but actually customers have caught people out. So just being honest and also putting your hobbies and interests down on there as well is really important. So yeah, it's something I'm passionate about, is standing out from the crowd. So I love it when candidates call me up to ask for help on their CV, because I'm definitely I want people to stand out from the crowd, basically.
Yeah, no, that's really important to do. And there's also an emerging interest from employers to get, is it video CVs? Is that the right word for it? Where they kind of want a recorded, elevator pitch almost.
Yeah, I think that definitely we're seeing that creep in a lot more at the minute. I think people are too scared to do it sometimes. It's putting yourself out there a little bit. But I just think, what have you got to lose as well? Go for it. You're just yourself on a screen. If they like it, great. If they don't like it, then it probably wasn't the right company for you. So what have you got to lose? Yeah, again, it's all about being different from thousands of other graduates which are about to graduate.
Yeah, and I suppose you've got to think, if you don't do it, somebody else will, and there's a job at the end of this. So what are you really willing to do, to kind of go that extra mile? And you're not alone. I think that's what we really want to get across as well. There's just so many people, there's bags of support, even if it is just to help you make that recording. I'm sure there's people there that have the tools and the time, to do that. So what is the current market like, given sort of 12 plus months that we've had? What are you seeing in the market?
It's gone mad. I'd say the last month, every single customer is now pressing the green light. Everybody's recruiting again, whereas before it was like tumbleweed out there. So we're finding that now all the candidates, all the graduates are getting snapped up really quickly because there's such a demand out there from all of our customers all of a sudden, all at once. Whereas if you asked me a month ago, I'd be saying it's picking back up slowly. But now, I mean, it only takes you to go onto the online job boards. It's booming again, and it's really positive, that people are recruiting.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And do employers then look for a cycle of graduate activity? I know there's sort of a cycle that does take place, but then are you saying throughout the year there's now a need to kind of get additional people in?
Yes, this is really, really important. So most of our customers won't just be waiting until August, September time to be recruiting for graduates. For example, so I've just worked with a software house in Leicestershire. I've placed 6 graduates in January and February who haven't even finished their degrees yet, or they're literally just about to now. And that's because, again, they were proactive. They put their CVs out there, or tapped them on the shoulder because they have a LinkedIn profile. Our customers are recruiting for graduates across the whole of the year. So I wouldn't wait until you've got your final exam to get your CV online, or to start approaching recruiters, because we will be hiring grads throughout the year, whether you've graduated or not, which is really positive news for graduates as well, to know that you don't have to be immediately available. Our customers will wait for you to graduate. So yeah, that's so useful to know, because I think that's a really big assumption that I think a lot of students would be making. And just that simple change, just to get in there just those few months early, could be a huge difference to them as well. I don't think graduates think that employers will wait, but I promise you they do, because they want to wait for the best talent. It's not a quick turnaround environment. They want the right people, so they're willing to wait. So yeah, I'd be getting on it really, at least 4 months before you're about to graduate.
Yeah. And so say they've had, your support, they've got the CV, and the employer's really interested. What does it vary in terms of assessment capability, or are employers kind of assessing the right fit in a similar way?
Yeah, so it's a bit of a blend really. So some of our customers are definitely just focused on the technical elements. However, I'd say 90% of the customers we work with are definitely looking for that blend. So yes, the technical skills are good to have, but if you don't have the right attitude, if you're not coming with the right caliber of person that they're looking for, how are they going to teach that person the skills? Thing? So it definitely is a blend. If you haven't got a particular language or a particular skill on that advert, please don't be put off, because if you have the right attitude and you go in there and knock your socks off, I guarantee they'll take you on over somebody that all the boxes from a skills perspective. But if that hiring manager can't see you in their team, they can't see you, grabbing every opportunity, the right attitudes, then you're probably not going to get it. So they're definitely a blend for sure.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the soft skills as well. So not only is the employer trying to make themselves seem approachable, you've got your part to play as well. So that these are hiring managers. These are actual managers in the company, spending half a day, and then maybe another half a day assessing the 12 candidates that they saw. What are you going to do in that time, when you have that time with them, to present yourself, not only yourself, like you said, technically, but your personality, perhaps how you kind of interacted with the other graduates in the room, virtually or physically. And so they'll be looking for everything that you think it might be that one exercise, but they're looking for so much more around that. They'll probably be observing you when you go for a coffee break.
Yeah, that absolutely. I've been through it myself. I was in assessment years ago with 50 people, and we all had numbers. I wasn't even called Emily. I was number 19 or something like that. But when we even went on our tea breaks and lunches, you could see them walking around. They want to see how are you chatting? Are you engaging to that stranger next to you? You know, are you making conversation? That is super, super important to always be aware of. Those social softer skills are critical, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So that really answers the question around this proactiveness throughout the year, even if it's, you know, a call to you, Emily, just to say, and they might say, well, I'm not ready yet, but, you know, let me work on my CV, but I just wanted to make contact with you and, you know, get the ball rolling kind of thing, you know. And then not just yourself, but they'll probably, you know, speak to some of the local agencies in your area to do that. And given the sort of, you know, unusual year, you know, that we've had, there are people who have been potentially furloughed, but may not have that kind of job to go back to, that vocation that they've had for some time. And I know in cases when, you know, I've had IT employees do that, and I'm fascinated when they can take a completely different 360 direction.
Yeah.
So they're a full-time, they're part of a band and go to weddings, or they've just taken to photography, or, you know, they've decided that they want to work in the medical profession. You know, if we're getting people that are furloughed and they're now thinking what their opportunities could be, and given we're saying the market is just growing so much in this digital capability, what advice would you have, or are you seeing that drive?
Yeah, I definitely am. I think, you know, candidates that I'm speaking to that have been on furlough, but the ones that are being successful now in getting roles are the ones that have been proactive in actually focusing on something that they're passionate about. So they've gone away. There's loads of free courses. There's loads of things that you can do. You don't, you know, I know there's lots of expensive courses out there, but the fact that somebody's dedicating a certain amount of time per week to self-improve themselves, you know, I think that is so important, rather than candidates saying to me, you know, and so what have you been doing since you've been in this furlough? And when candidates come back to me and say, well, I haven't been doing anything, unfortunately there are candidates out there that have and that are really standing out. But what I will say is it's been a great time for candidates to reflect on what's important to them. So just like that teacher, you know, they've gone away, decided that they want to be a developer, so they've gone and done loads of SQL courses, loads of Python courses, completely in their own time outside of work and things. Hence the reason why he was placed. So super important, you just remind yourself what you're passionate about, focus on that, because you want the right role for you. Definitely do something, even if it's just for a couple of hours a week. Definitely be getting yourself on some kind of course, or even if it's working on your own projects, anything that you can share on your CV or with a potential employer is really, really good.
Yeah, I suppose we're talking more around having an experienced hire. So actually an individual could ring you to say, what skills can you see that are transferable? Because they might not see that. They might not see that their organizational skills, their interpersonal skills, you know, if they were a comms person or, you know, facilitator or anything like that, that they don't realize that those skills are crucial and can be transferred into our industry.
Yeah, 100%. I think sometimes people do get stuck in a rut, or they've just got tunnel vision. You know, this is the degree I've done, this is what I need to go and do. But actually, you know, I didn't know before I joined Big Red Recruitment, I had no idea, you know, the amount of roles within technology and digital that you can go into. So yeah, you can, this is the perfect opportunity to be cross-training as well. Really is. Yeah,
thank you, Emily. And I suppose Colin as well. I mean, where shall we start? You've had an interesting journey. Do you want to sort of go into so as we start with your education, and then sort of how it's kind of moved into what you're doing today?
Yeah, absolutely, Jag. So started my education with as I said before, a history degree from Durham Uni, and I suppose starting with that and doing a history degree, I didn't really know what I wanted to do, and maybe I still really don't know what I want to do, but at the same time I kind of knew what I was interested in, what I was passionate about as well. But I enjoy being challenged and continually challenged. So I suppose it was my third year, and as Emily alluded to there, as a student, I probably wasn't proactive enough looking around, but at the same time was very conscious that you did need to apply for graduate roles and get your CV out there. Didn't get in touch with the agency, and looking back in hindsight, that probably would have been a good idea. So simply went direct, and yeah, so NFU Mutual and the graduate scheme popped up, and the opportunity to go into the world of IT, and it had been something, technology had been something I've always been quite interested in, or very interested in, really, from my farming background and implementing different bits of tech on the farm. So I was like, do you know what? I think that's something I've been really interested in. Before I went, I applied, and while applying then, as Emily said, did a bit of research myself, and what kind of opened my eyes to is A, the roles within IT, and B, actually how much access people have to IT resources just on the web, while other careers may feel kind of shut off or inaccessible because you need a higher degree or education to get them. Actually, there's so much resource for IT and technology on the web. So that really helped me then to kind of get into that. And before going through kind of that graduate process, onboarding process and recruitment process, was successful in getting onto the IT professional trainee or the graduate scheme, but in NFU Mutual we call it the professional trainee scheme within IT, and from there have continued for a year on the graduate scheme, and then was lucky enough to come off into a secondment role and doing what I'm doing now. So yeah, I suppose my education, when I started, I didn't think I'd be going into a job in IT, but kind of as it's progressed, and when I got to that third year of uni, my eyes just opened up to the opportunities that you do have within the world that I hadn't really touched upon previously.
Yeah, and obviously you're part of the BRM team now, but you're so early on in your career, you know, you've got an interest to now use the knowledge of what we do and who we interact with, but to also seek and explore these other areas of IT now as well. It's almost like it's quite confidence building, isn't it? Once you get sort of settled into the role and the team environment.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right there, Jo. I think once you, I think you alluded to both the technical skills, the technical background, but also the soft skills as well. And actually being in a team like the BRM team, you build both of them. I know that my soft skills, I had soft skills coming in and was aware of them. But one thing I was really worried about was my technical skills and my technical knowledge, I suppose, of coming into the IT world. I hadn't really touched upon much before, especially not in a professional environment. But actually being in the IT BRM team it's exposed me and allowed me to really experience the different aspects of IT, and coupled with that, how the business areas interact with IT and how they depend on IT. So as you said, it's really given me that broad experience across the organization that is NFU Mutual.
Yeah, and do you think that sort of demystified any assumptions you potentially would have had about, you know, IT sort of ways of working prior?
Yeah, I think so. A story for you: when I first was doing my interview for the graduate scheme here, one of the questions I asked back after my interview, so I've got little technological skills and technology skills. I'm coming in as a clean slate, and one thing that's been playing on my mind is this going to kind of hold back my development within IT? And the interviewer said, no, absolutely not. As long as we can tell you're passionate about this and you're interested in it and want to learn, and that want to learn simply comes off being passionate, doesn't it? Really, you're quite happy to learn about something when you're passionate about it. And as long as you've got those traits and we can see them, then you're going to learn that knowledge, and you're going to pick up those skills as you go through. And that's exactly what's happened. My assumption coming in was it's going to take me years to be able to pick up even the slightest bit of knowledge with IT. But actually, when you're immersed in it, when you're interested in it, and when you've got access to the experience within a company like NFU Mutual and the IT, you actually pick up so much as you go. I think maybe it's from academics, is that you have to spend hours and hours in books to be able to pick up knowledge. Well, actually, you pick up knowledge just as quickly, if not more so, by just being around people, knowledgeable people. So it really broke that assumption for me, kind of early doors, and that's continuing to happen. I suppose as my confidence grows and your knowledge continues to grow, you're able to ask more pertinent questions about IT, and it kind of just accelerates that. So it's getting over that worry and that nervousness about going, I don't know anything here about it. It's really going to hold me back. Actually, stepping into that world, taking a chance, and you learn so much in a relatively short amount of time.
Yeah, and you've been part of our team for some time now, and as you say, you've sort of soaked up the knowledge. You work fantastically, with the business areas as well. And for our team, you've been quite crucial in building quite an important bit of governance for us that gets visibility of the IT exec as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Jag. So I suppose the situation when I was quite early on joining the team, you're right, there was this idea being floated around that we as the IT BRM team wanted to be able to, I suppose, visually demonstrate our value and the feeling of the business towards IT, so that the IT executives could really get that picture and kind of really understand that feeling and what's going on within the business, what's their opinions of us at quite regular intervals. So the task I went away with essentially was bringing that to life. How is that going to work kind of on the ground? So it was creating alongside the rest of the team as well, this dashboard type tool that allowed kind of an easy kind of one-stop shop view of the business's opinions and feelings is the key bit. Is their feeling towards towards IT, and that's exactly what the action went away, created that, continuously getting feedback in order to get it quite simple in terms of making it smooth and efficient to continually update, rather than it being quite a large admin task each month. Was what each month the IT exec as a specification wanted to be able to get these updates from. And like you said, Jag, I think it's continuing to develop. I think that's the key. It's going to grow in maturity as we continue, but as a first kind of iteration and moving forward as a piece of governance to allow IT and the business to interact in quite an effective and, as I say, direct way is it's quite pleasing to see. And I think it's been also a good tool for our team as well, hasn't it, in kind of pulling our knowledge, our ideas into kind of this single source of information from across there's so much knowledge within the team about the different business areas. It's quite nice, especially for someone quite young and quite new to the team, to have a single source to be able to go to as well. And you learn, I learned so much by building it. So it's actually been worked in all ways.
Yeah, and thank you, Colin. I know you've done so much work on that, and it's not just the IT exec. We've really promoted it. It's been such a success within IT, and engaging with our business areas. The fact that they want to know that they've been listened to, and that the fact that their feeling gets presented back at that level. So it's been an incredible piece of work, and it goes back to Emily's point around, putting your hand up, being eager, that eagerness to say, do you know what? Yeah, I think I'm going to, work on this. And I know I've got a team around me. This is why people shouldn't feel alone when they're going through, you know, these challenges or embarking on working in this industry, that you will always have a team around you. And if it is a new dashboard, if it's a new kind of introducing a level of governance or things like that, then it's always kind of been done before. We kind of know what we want to do, we kind of know what we want to get to, and you'll have people, you know, in the company who are experienced enough to guide you ultimately as well. So, and it just, like you said, that stretch capability, so you kind of taken that on, as well as doing, you know, the BRM job, the day-to-day job as well. So it just really reflects well on you. And then when you do decide to perhaps move on to another area within IT, say the technical operations team or the architecture team, again, it's probably not that relevant to say you don't have that technical ops experience. It's the fact that we can just evangelize all the great work that you've done and the variety of work that you've done. So the conversation really shifts, but it's in your gift to do that as an individual. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think what you touched upon there in terms of that having that team around you, I think that's something I've realized coming into IT and going through before I joined the IT BRM team with yourself, kind of doing short-term placements around IT, is that the amount you can learn from a team in a short space of time, and as you've always got that team there to fall back on and get advice from and support from. They look out for you. So that's, again, I didn't think that's how IT would work first going into it, but it absolutely does. It seems everyone within that kind of IT world is out to support one another.
Yeah, I think we learned that we have to have a collaborative approach, don't we? You know, there's such a mix of skills. There's a mix of skills within our own team, but then it's nice to recognise that, you know, together we are that one sort of ecosystem, along with other business areas as well, because you have technical people in HR and finance, and you know, we're all constantly working on getting wins for everybody, you know. So it's not just a one team thing. It never is in IT. You know, people think it's all, we're doing IT for IT's sake. We're not. We're doing so much to help other areas, you know, shine and progress with the capabilities that we can offer. So I had a bit of a question for you both. So I've talked about the purpose of these talks is to attract people into the IT and digital industry. So I was going to ask Emily, when I say digital, what does digital mean to you?
Digital to me, I would say innovation as well. I think digital is amazing. It's so fast paced at the minute. Projects that my customers are working on in that digital online e-com space, it's amazing. So yeah.
So it means, for you, it means innovation and e-commerce. So looking at the platforms that engage with the customers.
Yes, correct.
Often.
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay. And Colin, so if someone said to you, we're a company, we've got a digital program, what would that sort of mean to you?
I think for me, it's the first thing that comes into my head is kind of change. It's going through that change process where we're looking to move forward. We're looking to the future, and with change, the positives that come with change. I think efficiency is obviously better in your people, but also change. There's risks with change as well that need to be recognised, both in terms of changing ways of working, changing cultures potentially, different skills coming in. So it's really, for me, change is good. Change really it pushes people forward, but it's just understanding both sides of the coin of change as well. So that's really what pertinent in my mind when someone says digitization.
Oh, great. So when I think or hear digital, I think about the customer, and I think about an organization that's trying to create a multi-channel experience for a customer. And digital to me means that the customer can get access to their data in a seamless, in a real time, anytime, any device, anywhere kind of way. So to me, digital means that, you know, you've got it will mean change. It will mean a project will have to happen. If that customer data sits somewhere that's not accessible, then we've got to bring it in. We've got to add a layer to our, our infrastructure, for example, to enable this data that we keep to be in an accessible and in a format, in a safe way, for our customers to access. So I just find it fascinating that we've got very different ways of describing what is just a standard term in IT. And I'm sure, Emily, when employers talk to you about digital, again, it's completely different sort of variations. Digital to somebody might just mean just a refresh of their website, but it could be a digital program. So do you find that as well? Does it kind of vary?
All the time. Sometimes we'll have customers say, oh, well, we want this digital PM to roll this out. And it's like, we need to know more, because every customer is going through something completely different at the minute. So we never assume that it's the same and it's standard. It's always different in every customer. Yeah.
And I suppose, and again, the budget could vary. So a digital project could be 1 million, a digital project could be 20 million. So, and I suppose the point is, for anyone sort of coming into a company, just don't assume, because, there's a fear sometimes to ask the question. There's a fear sometimes that people hold, that they say, well, I know that there's a big data project happening in the organization, but I don't know what that means. Or I know that there's a digital program happening, I don't know what that means. And ask the question, because I guarantee you that, it means very different things in organizations. Cloud, for example, private cloud, public cloud, hybrid cloud. So what is your organization doing around cloud? And I don't think people always have that kind of confidence to say that I want to know, but I'm afraid to ask the question. And I guarantee you, it just means different things to different organizations. So don't feel like you're going to get bombarded with a technical response to what these projects mean, because the underlying need is, it's a business need. So more often than not, if you speak to someone of that project or speak to your manager about it, the answer that you'll get back, it will resonate, it will make sense, and then you can say, oh, I get it, okay, so we're launching a mobile app for our customers. Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know digital meant that. I thought digital just meant we're spending millions on Microsoft Azure. I didn't know it's going to be new website, new mobile, things like that. So, and that just helps with your learning, exactly as Colin said. That helps with, then you're going to sound like you might think, oh, I sound like a technical person now, but it's the words that we use, obviously, digital, cloud, blockchain or whatever. But wouldn't it be a great position that you now know what that means, and then you can communicate that and you understand it, So have we had any interactions on the chat at all? I know there's only a few people on the call. Is there anyone else that has any questions? Now we've got a few more minutes, really. The time has absolutely flown by, I'm sure you'll agree. Colin and Emily.
Yeah.
But I think we have covered, what we sort of wanted to discuss. Is there any other last bits of advice either of you would have?
Just don't be afraid to reach out. It's been a really difficult time, especially for graduates who graduated last year, when there was no jobs to go into, because nobody was recruiting like they normally would for graduates. So if I have people call me that are getting frustrated, upset, because some of their peers have now found things and they haven't. I think my top advice is, be proactive and keep going, because something will come up, and do ask for help. So give me a call, or ask your friends for recommendations on their agencies that they got their jobs through. Start getting in contact with people, even if it's just for advice on your local area, and get your name out there, and don't be downhearted, because things are looking to pick up. It's starting to get really positive again, which is a really good sign for everybody. So stay positive.
Good. Yeah. Colin, anything?
Yeah, I think I'd say, Jag, that but for anyone, no matter what you've been doing or what your background is, if you are curious and there is an interest there around technology and IT, then just have a look, whether it's a quick Google search in terms of careers or into that world. And honestly, that first step is probably the hardest, because all of a sudden you open yourself up to this world of possibility that is IT. And in terms of like Emily touched upon there, in terms of future market and job prospects, the stability is just growing within that world. So it is just taking that first little step of, actually, let's challenge myself a little bit here in terms of stepping into that without the understanding. And I think a lot of people would surprise themselves in terms of the experience they could gain.
Yeah. And I suppose my bit of advice would be to share this, because there will be people who are looking for a job, and again, tunnel vision, finance, tunnel vision, marketing. It has to be marketing, for me to go and succeed. Because of this growth in businesses wanting to digitize and transform, yes, there are a lot of opportunities in IT, but I don't think any manager would hesitate in recruiting someone who can help, our IT department and flourish their sort of, business portfolio, for example. And then there might be that opportunity internally. You've got your foot through the door. I guarantee you there'll be no manager that minds if you want to then flourish and say, even take tiny steps to say, I want to shadow the marketing executive just to get a feel for what it is really like. And I said this on a previous talk as well, then you've opened yourself up into working into other areas of legal, procurement, HR, and areas like that. Why not take that shrewd opportunity now to get yourself an entry-level role in IT? So I think that would be my advice for people. So again, if you're all in the graduate community and you're watching this video and you've got friends who are struggling to get a role somewhere else, then this is one thing that they can always consider, and talk to a recruiter and get a real honest view. And like I said, it comes down to you've obviously proven yourself academically. All those transferable skills, exactly as Colin said, are invaluable when it comes to what we do within IT. But then you've got the opportunity then to move onwards in some fantastic companies that we have here. So I'm going to pass back on to David.
Thank you. Thanks, Jag.
You're welcome. But thank you,
Emily,
everybody.
Colin,
Thank you, Emma. Thank you, Colin.
Problem.
Emily, sorry.
If anyone does have any questions, please do feel free to ask. The video will be recorded, so you can go back and check out what was said. Please, as Jag said, share it with your friends. We promote it as well. So I hope this has been useful for everyone, and I really do thank Jag, Emily, and Colin for coming along today. And well, essentially, we recorded the session, so it's going to be available to anybody who picks up on this later as well. So no, thank you very much for your time this afternoon, and it's very, very useful insights. I did try and do a little bit of a running commentary based on my own experiences, some neat things in there, hopefully some helpful things in there as well. But yes, no, thank you very much. I think we've no, thank you, Andrew. We've had a couple of messages in there just saying thank you very much.
Thank you.
No, we do have 3 more sessions coming up. They've got some themes, so they're every 2 weeks over the next. Does that make it 4 or 6? I don't know. It's going through to the end of July, so it's 6 weeks, isn't it? Yeah. So hopefully everyone is well, and got some time to enjoy the rest of this afternoon and the nice weather that we're going to have over the next couple of days.